Thank you for taking the time today to hear about the new features and functionality we have included in SPS Commerce EDI for Acumatica. So this is the agenda for this afternoon. We're going to start with introductions, then we'll give an overview of SPS Commerce EDI solution. Then we'll pause for questions near the end. And then finally, I'll pop up a slide with all of our contact information for your information. So a little bit of housekeeping. Everyone is muted to ensure better experience for everyone. So please type any questions that you have into the chat as we go along. And if you're like me and wait until the end, I'll have forgotten what I was going to ask. We're going to make every attempt to answer your questions as they come up. If not, we definitely have time at the end for additional questions. And as I mentioned, the last slide will have our contact information just in case. So let's get started with a couple of introductions. I'm Siobhan Finders, the product manager for SPS Commerce EDI for Acumatica. I have many years of product experience, both with EDI and ERP. And I'm here today with Mo Demirci. Mo?
Thanks, Siobhan. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. It's Mo Demirci, Senior Channel Manager for Acumatica. So I manage and lead the Acumatica practice here at SPS, and I work with the partners community day in, day out. So I'm really excited here today to go over some new enhancement and new features that Siobhan is going to walk us through. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Mo. SPS Commerce EDI is now a fulfilled by Acumatica solution. So what does that mean? It means that Acumatica has determined that SPS Commerce EDI is the preferred EDI solution for our Acumatica users requiring EDI. The solution goes through rigorous testing, both internally by our team, as well as by the Acumatica team. Acumatica certifies the product twice a year with each major Acumatica release. We're excited to be more closely aligned to Acumatica going forward. So a quick note that some of the functionality that I'll be showing today is available in the latest version of Acumatica in 2021 R1 and 2021 R2, specifically the 846 inventory advice document. So we're going to get started with a quick poll. And Nora's going to pop up the first one. So if you'll just take a minute to answer this question. And if you're not quite sure what version you're running, go ahead and make your best guess. Cool. Okay, Nora, you can go ahead and take that down and pop up the next one. So this one here, we're talking internally about providing training to all of our SPS Commerce EDI for Acumatica customers. And we're wondering if you were interested in participating. If you could answer yes, you would like hands-on training, or yes, you just would like overview training where we go through it and you don't have the opportunity to do the exercises on your own, or no, I'm good. Okay, Nora, if you want to take that one down. Thank you. So we're going to go ahead and get started. With the latest release of SPS Commerce EDI, we have combined the 3 different EDI menus into one. So it looks a bit overwhelming, but you can change the menu to suit your specific needs. The settings are saved for each Acumatica user. So we're going to start over here on the left nav menu, and I'm just going to click on Edit Menu. And I like to have SPS Commerce EDI up near the top, so I'll move it just above the sales orders. You can order these whichever fits your workflow for the day, and put them in whatever order you want. So I'm going to exit the menu settings. And in order to change this quick menu here, we're going to click on the settings button over here on the right, sorry. And I know there was the capability to do that over here on this edit menu settings, but I've been having trouble getting it to save for some reason. So we're going to go through a bunch of different tasks here inside of Acumatica. So I'm going to check a couple of boxes so that I can make sure that I can capture this stuff right here on the quick menu. So let me make sure I'm capturing the things that I want. So I added 4 different things to my quick menu. So if I go ahead and exit, you can see that my receive inbound invoices, create invoices, send outbound purchase orders, and update purchase order status are all here and available for me to use right here on the quick menu. So one of the things I wanted to do is just kind of quickly go through how our consulting team will set you up. And so the first thing that they do in conjunction with you, and of course now I have to click on the show all, is set up your customer trading partner. So I click on that, and what this does is it shows us a list of all of our customers inside of Acumatica, and then we choose the ones that we're going to trade EDI with. In this case, we've chosen these 3. If I were to choose any new ones, I would click on Save and Sync. With that said, the next step is to actually go into the cloud. And I have this all ready to go here. So this is what the cloud looks like, and I go into Trading Partners. And you can see we have the customer trading partners here. And I would click on Add Trading Partners if I was adding a new one, but we're just going to take a look around and see what everything looks like. So I'm just going to click on Trading Partners. And what it's going to do is bring up a list of all of the trading partners that I have set up inside of SPS Commerce EDI. So once it comes up, it gives me my whole list of trading partners. So I'm just going to select this one here and click on the edit button. And here, when we go in here, it gives us a general tab, which gives you general contact information about your company. This can also be set using the defaults here under edit default trading partner settings, so that every time you create a new trading partner, it will autofill all of this information for you. You have the opportunity then to change anything and save it for this particular trading partner. So the next thing we're going to go look at is the inbound purchase order. So there are a lot of settings that are really the defaults for this particular trading partner, which you can change once we get inside of Acumatica. So the inbound purchase order, you can choose how to look for the item cross-reference, and you have a number of items to choose from. Your trading partner ID for this trading partner, the map we're using, order type, and then these down here are important because it allows you to choose to use the ERP price or to use the EDI price. And so you pick one of those, and then you have the opportunity to choose to report on any price conflicts where ERP price doesn't match the EDI price. And then you can also choose to have a duplicate PO check. So if you've already pulled in the PO and you just forgot about it, it will pop up a warning. And we'll take a look at that when we get inside of Acumatica again. So our outbound invoice, the same type of thing. We have the maps. We have certain selections that you can choose while you're going along. The outbound ASN, also the same. This allows you to pick your shipment type, and the shipment type actually defines the structure of your ASN. So your consultant will work with you to fill all this information out. And then we have the outbound PO acknowledgement. So the PO acknowledgement is the 855, and it allows you to set up defaults for each trading partner, just like the other documents. And you can choose the default header status, and we support all of the standard header statuses. And then it allows you to select the default line status. So if your purchase order as it comes in meets all of these settings or meets all the requirements inside the PO, you can just accept everything and release it for shipment. And then the outbound inventory advice. And this is new as of this release. And on this particular screen, it's the same type of thing. It allows you to set defaults for this trading partner inside of Acumatica for sending out your 846. So you can choose how you want your items to be selected. And we're going to dig into these a little bit when we hit the 846. Allows you to choose where to send your consumer package code from, your buyer part number from, EAN, that kind of thing, as well as some calculations that you can choose to set for this particular trading partner. So we'll move the cloud off to the side for now, and we'll go back into SPS Commerce EDI. So we have already set up our trading partners. We're ready to go there. Wanted to point out that if you are doing any buy side, if you are sending EDI to any of your suppliers, you can set up your vendors as trading partners. And then if you have a 3PL, we also have warehouse trading partners. Now that sounds kind of funky, but if you go in here and look, your warehouse trading partners are really all of the warehouses that you have set up inside of Acumatica. So the next thing I wanted to go through is to take a look at the various cross references. So our goal when we built this product was to make sure that all of your day-to-day EDI processes can be handled inside of Acumatica so that you don't have to go out to the cloud. And I can tell you, since we released this in the very beginning, we have very few, if any, customers that go out to the cloud. So I thought that was an interesting tidbit. So all of your cross-references are handled and managed and maintained right here inside of Acumatica. So we'll just take a quick look at the customer item cross-reference because this is very robust. We have the ability to sync with the Acumatica cross-references. So if you have it all set up in Acumatica and you want to pop it over here, you go ahead and click on Sync with Acumatica cross-reference and it will update this. So one of the reasons we built a separate cross-reference function inside of Acumatica is because for EDI, we often need to do things that the cross-reference functionality inside of the inventory is not able to handle. And a good example of that is our unit of measure conversion. So I set this one up. I don't know why I set it up each to each. But I went ahead and set up an each to case. So let's say that in the ERP inside of Acumatica, you have your specific item, in this case, the bottle, set up as eaches. But when you send them to your trading partner, you send them in cases. So the case is 12. So our unit of measure conversion rate is 12. And then we have the conversion rule. And the rule is to multiply the ERP unit of measure by the conversion rate. And then when I asked Patrick to put in a helpful hint, was a little bit surprised that he actually labeled it as a helpful hint. So it tells you that if you use this unit of measure conversion, there will be 12 ERP eaches in one trading partner case. So it's nice to have that little hint to make sure that you set it up right, because sometimes if you choose the wrong thing here, you'll have like fractions over here. The other thing that we include inside of the item cross-references are your case pack quantities, if your SEC 14 prefixes, master pack, default case boxes and pallet boxes that you would use for packing. And these setups here also help with our auto packing functionality. One other thing I wanted to point out in the cross-references, because of course we have a cross-reference for many different things because they will name them different things as it comes from your trading partner. We have the ship to, ship via, general cross-reference where you can really cross-reference anything with anything else. A customer, terms cross-reference. And then this one here is an allowance and charge cross-reference. So it allows you to set this up and assign a non-stock item to that discount or to that charge so that you can assign a specific GL account number to that allowance or charge. Nice little tidbit. We also have the vendor item cross-references because your cross-references might be different when you're sending purchase orders to your supplier. And then in your warehouse as well, the warehouse may call your items different things. So you're able to set up different cross-references for each one. So a best practice is really to keep your cross-references updated and to keep them clean, because we do all kinds of validation when we bring in purchase orders, send out invoices, send out ASNs and all that. And if all of that information is nice and clean, it'll avoid errors. Any questions so far, Mo?
Yes, Siobhan. So we have a question about the sync with Acumatica cross-reference. The question is, so that pulls everything from stock items and non-stock. a cross-reference, or is there some filtering that can be added?
It pulls everything. So when you go into inventory and you look at your stock items, if you have cross-references set up, it'll bring over all of that.
Excellent, thank you.
So of course, it takes a while to bring it up. But if I go in and look at this item here, Acumatica has its own cross-reference functionality, so it'll bring it over. Cool, thank you, Mo. Okay, so let's get started. This part of the overview is just going to kind of step through the various documents. And I thought I would start at the beginning just so that we can see how everything flows together and how everything works. And keep in mind that we're going to step through this manually, but everything inside of SPS Commerce EDI has a scheduler button. Any of the processing functions has a scheduler button that you can use to schedule these items to run based on any criteria that you like, any criteria that's available in the scheduler. I'm hoping you all have used the scheduler in the past because it's super powerful and very robust. So it can prevent a lot of this manual work. So here you would come in, if you didn't have the scheduled, you would come in and pull the data. And I've already done that. So I have a couple of purchase orders sitting here ready to be processed. So my next step would be to go in and create sales orders. And I meant to do something back there under the receive inbound purchase orders. I wanted to point out the fact that we have a couple of purchase orders here with warnings. And if we click on that and click on view doc, what it does is it shows you what the warnings are. And remember, when we looked at the cloud, we talked about having the ERP price or the EDI price, and do we want a warning? And in this case, the ERP price doesn't match the EDI price, and we are going to go ahead and use the ERP price. So it's just a warning. This will allow you to create sales orders without a problem. There's also this warning for a duplicate PO created. I wanted to show this error really quick as well. So we have this error here, and when I click on this and click on view doc, it's going to tell me exactly what the error is. So down here, it tells me that a mapping has failed, that the trading partner inventory ID does not exist for this item ID 4007. So the cool thing about it is it's right here in Acumatica. We can go in and fix that. And if I go in and look, oh, I see how I have this one here. This item cross-reference is set up wrong. So I go in here, I change it to R4007, save it. And now I'm going to sync it up with the cloud. So it's just going up to the cloud and updating that cross-reference. And now it's done. So we can come back in here into view pending purchase orders where we had that error, and we can reprocess that purchase order. So now we've reprocessed it, and you can see that it pops up here and it does not have an error. So it was this customer order number that had the error before, and I reprocessed it and it pops up here. So it resolved the error, still has a warning, but it's going to let me create the sales order. So my next step is I'm going to go ahead and create the sales order. So this is the purchase order that I'm choosing to go through the process with. And I'm going to make notes so that I have my sales order number and my shipment number and all of that, so I can make sure that we track as we go through. And it's actually going through, and from that purchase order, it's creating an Acumatica sales order inside of Acumatica. When you do these one thing at a time, Acumatica is super cool because it takes you right to the next step. So if you look at this, it took me to the sales order screen. It created my sales order. It's got all the items that I had on the purchase order, and I can go ahead and create my shipment and move on. At this point, one of the things that I wanted to point out was that we have the ability right here to send our PO acknowledgement. So it's super easy. If you know that nothing's going to change, you can just click send PO acknowledgement. But what if you want to change it? What if you have an exception? So you can see that here at the header, the status code, the way the trading partner wants to see it is they only want to see the exception detail. So, okay, we'll just go over here into the SPS EDI details, and you can see perhaps we don't have enough of these South Shore Savannah changing tables on hand. So we are going to go ahead and say that for this particular line item, we're going to back order that. So I would just click on back ordered, then I would go up and save the order. And then I can click on send PO acknowledgement. So I sent the PO acknowledgement, and in a little bit, we're going to go back over here and make sure that the PO acknowledgement went without an error. So that's the PO acknowledgement. So the next step in the process is right up here in green. So again, Acumatica is leading you through all of this. So I'm going to create my shipment. So I'm going to go ahead and set the parameters, create the shipment. So Acumatica is creating the shipment, and watch what happens here. Takes us right to the shipment screen, which is awesome. So one thing that I wanted to point out here on the shipment screen is that Acumatica does create the boxes here, but they don't pack the boxes. I didn't have it auto pack anything because I'm going to take care of that in SPS Commerce EDI. So let me step back over there, and we're ready to process our EDI shipments, which of course I forgot to note what the shipment number was. 2706, so keep that in your mind. So I'm going to pop over here, and I am going to process EDI shipments. And I like to write down that shipment number because it gives me a whole list of them, and most of the time I'm pretty good about that. One of the things that we looked at in the cloud was that you could assign the shipment type in the cloud. And this again is the default for this particular trading partner. So what I can do is go in and change for example, I can go in and change this one here. So I'm going to change, whoops, I didn't mean to click on that, sorry. I'm going to select it here, and I'm going to change the shipment time from case pack to manual. And when I go ahead and process it, you can see over here, it changes the shipment type from case pack to manual. And so case pack is set up so that if you pack everything in one box, that's how it's going to auto pack it for you. So I changed it to manual, and I can go ahead and pack it any way I want. So the next step in the process, in the EDI process, is to prepare the packaging. And I'm going to grab that shipment 2706, and I'm going to click on process to prepare the packaging. And what this does is it auto packs it based on all those settings that we had in the cloud and the trading partner in the shipment type. It also looks at your general cross-reference and your item cross-reference and some information inside of the Acumatica inventory. So it's auto packing this based on those criteria. And now we're going to go take a look at it. So when it comes up, we're going to click on packages, and you can see the packages changed because based on the auto pack rules, it's going to take medium boxes, and we're going to pack 2 of these Con Baby ones into each medium box until we fill up the boxes, until we have everything that was on the purchase order or on the sales order packed. And then you can see here in the large box, we packed 4 of the Con Baby 2s. So that's what it looks like once we've done the auto packing. And now I am going to, the next step is to print the labels. So I'm going to go ahead and print the labels for that particular shipment and click on process. And this always takes some time. So Mo, are there any questions up till now?
Yes, Siobhan, there was a question about the PO acknowledgement. Mm-hmm. And under the SPS EDI details, it says, why was each line shown 4 times?
For each box.
Excellent.
Yep. So perfect timing on that, Mo, because now we have our shipping label is ready. And what the print labels actually does is it creates your ZPL, your Zebra printer label file, and it saves it. So it's going to save it into my documents folder. And when I'm ready to actually physically print the labels, I just grab that file and drop it into my Zebra label printing folder.
And on the labels, Siobhan, another question came in. Are you printing GS 128 labels?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Sorry, I should have mentioned that. Perfect. This also gives you the ability not just to print the labels, but to reprint them. If they got messed up in the printer, you can reprint them and drop them over. So our next step in the process, we're going to go ahead and mark it as ready to send. And what this means is we're just going to tell the EDI solution that this particular ASN is ready to send. So go ahead and put a check mark in that box and mark it as ready to send. So that's marked as ready to send. So we go back over here to SPS Commerce EDI and go to send outbound ASNs. And when you can see here, that particular shipment is listed here under send outbound ASNs. And all I have to do is click on it and click on send. But again, you see the scheduler button. You can schedule all of these because by the time you mark that ASN as ready to send, you know that you've already created the sales order, you've packed the shipment, you've done everything that you need to do to get ready to send it out the door. So you can send those automatically each time instead of having to come in here and send or send all. But if you're a little bit of a control freak like me, you can let these stack up during the day and then just come in here and send all, and it will select all of them and send them. So I'm going to go ahead and click on send. And it takes me right to the update ASN status, which is perfect because this is where I want to be able to update status and make sure that the ASN actually made it through the cloud and pushed up to the network. I mentioned on the PO acknowledgement that we were going to come back and check on that as well because we sent it out from the sales order itself. So here we have the sales order number. And we have that it was sitting out there and it's unknown. So we're going to click on the update status. And what we're looking for is enough time has passed that PO acknowledgement has made it all the way through the process and there aren't any errors. So we'll go back and take one more look at the ASN. Sometimes this takes time, one, to get through the cloud, and two, depending on your polling settings that you have on your FTP site, for that to actually disappear. And we know there were no errors going through the cloud, so we're pretty certain that it's going to make it up without a problem up to the SPS network to be processed to the trading partner. So let me see. Like I mentioned,
one more question.
Okay.
While it's uploading to the cloud, the question says, does SPS label printing use my Acumatica printer setting, or do you have to go out of Acumatica to print the labels?
Ooh, that's kind of a tricky question. It does not use the printer settings inside of Acumatica. It's going to print on a Zebra printer, label printer. And how those work is you grab the files and you drop it into your Zebra printer folder, and then it goes based on your Zebra printer settings.
Thank you. And one more question while we're at it. Does the update status button just refresh the view, or does it trigger an actual transaction?
It just refreshes the view. And what we're looking for is eventually for this to disappear from the list, which means it's gone as far, it's gone out and it's on its way to the trading partner. So yeah, that's a very good question. So you always want to make sure that you update the status to ensure the ASNs were sent out and that there wasn't an error between the cloud and the network. So one thing I wanted to point out, this is a little bit of a teaser to watch for our next enhancement release, where we're going to introduce dashboards that will help with this. So you'll have dashboards that are going to have this status, and it will show you if anything's sitting out there in an error status, just as a quick view. So you don't have to go in here and check this every time. You come in the morning and you look at your dashboard and boom, it gives you all the information you need. We'll do this one more time and boom, it's gone. So we're good to go on that. So now we've shipped it. We've sent out the ASN. We are ready to go back and send out the invoice. So we would go here to the sales orders, to the shipments. And we're back inside of Acumatica native functionality. And here's our shipment number 2706. I'm going to click on that. And at this point here, I'm going to go ahead and confirm the shipment, because before you can create your invoice, you actually have to confirm the shipment and let everybody know that it's good to go. We already know it's gone. And again, it leads you through everything. So next step in the process is to prepare the invoice. So let it go ahead and have the little clock spin and spin. And it creates the invoice and it drops us right into the Acumatica Invoices screen. So we'll go ahead and release it. And once we release it, it's going to offer us the ability to send the EDI invoice from this screen. And that happens to be the next step. And before I go on to look at the 846, we're going to go ahead and send that EDI invoice. Then I wanted to show you a couple other things. So the EDI invoice is gone, but I also wanted to show you here under sales orders and shipments that there are processes that you can do that will allow you to handle multiple things, or I guess batch these things. So process shipments, suppose you've got all your ASN is gone, you want to schedule the processing of your shipments after the ASN has been shipped, and now your shipment's going to show up here, that it's going to require that you confirm the shipment. So you can select confirm shipment and then process all, and it will confirm all of those shipments. So make sure before you do that, though, that you've already sent the ASN and everything is there. So you have to make sure all the steps are done before you can schedule these things. And that functionality is also available in the invoices. So if you want to create your invoices and all of that, you can schedule a lot of that functionality. Any questions, Mo, before we go on to the 846?
No questions so far.
Awesome. Okay, here's the most fun part. So remember when we were out in the cloud, we looked at all of the different settings that we had for the 846 that would default for the trading partner. Well, we all know that every trading partner wants to see different items in different ways, and we also want to send that information differently. So this particular feature allows you to go in item by item, trading partner by trading partner, and put in settings that will drive the 846 functionality. So for example, if you have a spring fling that you want to sell certain items during that period of time, and you want it to go from January 31st to February 28th. You set that information in there, and the information will be pushed to your trading partner during that period of time. There's override quantities, override on PO quantities. There's the ability to have calculation rules that are set up. And inside of Acumatica, in the inventory, it allows you to set up calculation rules for how much inventory you have on hand that you want to show. And you can use those here. Or you can override those and use a different one here. You can send percentages. If the quantity is less than or equal to whatever, you can send X amount. Lots of options. I mean, there are lots of options that you can set in order to send the 846 exactly how you want it. We've also included a number of user-defined fields. So if there's information that is not set up in your inventory or your cross-reference that you want to include on your 846, it allows you to put that information and it gets sent out to the trading partner. So again, for each trading partner, for each item, you can set up different rules all the way across. And we actually have the wiki that explains all of this. I don't have that available in my system right now, but just clicking here on the question mark will take you to the wiki. And if you click on SPS Commerce EDI, it goes through everything. And Linnea is almost done writing the wiki for the 846. So a lot of great
Siobhan,
information. Go ahead.
Question on the 846. Is the inventory advice based on quantity on hand available or available for shipment, or is there any other criteria for what it's based on?
Well, it allows you to set it on a bunch of different criteria. So out of the box, it's what you have on hand. But it allows you to set different criteria as you go along so that you can really customize it.
That's powerful. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Martha. So inside, once you've got all of your inventory advice data set up, when you want to send it out, you would go in here, and if you want to send it manually, you would go ahead and select, let's say we're going to send it out for a bartender, and click on send. But again, you notice that we have the scheduler button, so you can schedule this to go out every 15 minutes. You can schedule it to go out once a day, once a week, however often you want, based on the criteria you can set. So it went ahead and sent that out for us. And then there are a bunch of different options. Of course, we have the update inventory status. We have the ability to reprocess them if you need to view all of them. When you go into view all of them, all it does is it gives you the actual inventory advice and where it is in the process. So you can see this is the one we just sent. It has not been uploaded to the EDI network. This one has, which means it's gone to your trading partner. So I can click on update status and it should update that. So now it's waiting for update to EDI. I think we wanted to go back. I can't remember if we wanted to check on another one. No, we wanted to look at the outbound invoices. Make sure that our invoice that we sent out is gone. It's sitting out there. It's sitting out there as pending. So we're going to click on update status, and enough time has passed since we went ahead and sent the invoice that it's already gone through the whole process and out of the way. Okay, checking my notes, make sure I have everything I need. Again, as I mentioned before, anytime you do any of these, you always want to circle back and make sure to update your status and make sure that the document has gone out of your system without an error. So any questions on the 846 and what we've covered so far?
So far, so good.
Okay, so our next step is another fun one. For those of you with 3PLs and outside warehouses, we have the 940, 945. So I'm going to go ahead and click on show less. In order to process the 940 and 945, the way that process works is that you bring in a purchase order from your trading partner. And you can see that I have one set up here that conveniently the customer order number is 940, 945. So it's easy for me to see what's sitting out there ready for me. So I'm going to go ahead and create the sales order based on this 940, 945. And I'm going to keep reading my notes because there's one step that I have to take as I create this 940. I have to go ahead and change the warehouse. And the reason I have to do that is because my wholesale warehouse is not set up as a trading partner inside of SPS Commerce EDI. So I'm using my Virginia wholesale warehouse for all of my 940 information. So let's make sure I have everything set up correctly. I've changed that. At this point, we do not create the shipment because we are not going to be shipping that. We are going to send the warehouse order out to our warehouse. So basically, they're going to get this sales order. It's going to come into them, telling them that we want them to ship that. Okay, I didn't save that. Let's try that one more time. So this is our Virginia warehouse. Forgot a critical step here. I have to go up here and save that. So the sales order remembers that it's going to go after my Virginia warehouse. I banged my head against the wall for a couple of days trying to figure that out earlier this week. So now it's saved it. Now I should be able to go and send my warehouse order. And it's sending it out to my 3PL. So again, we're going to go out here and we're going to look at our warehouse order status. And you can see it's sitting up here, getting ready to go. So I'm going to update the status. Operation was complete on that first one, but not the second one. So my next step is, sorry, I have to do a little bit of cheating here on the side because I'm using my sales demo company. I have to change my sales order number and save it. And then I'm going to drop it into my, normally this would be dropped by the network into my FTP site and I would be able to pull it straight down. So let's see here. I'm out in the cloud. I'm going to take that and drop it and submit that file. So I'm going to be ready to process my 945 as soon as I click on update status and boom, it's okay. So we're good to go. So now I have sent my order out to the warehouse. So the next step would be for the warehouse to actually send the ship advice back to me, telling me that I've shipped this information. I mean, I've shipped this product. This is how I shipped it. This is how I packaged it. So that's the 945. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to receive in the 945 from my warehouse. And I want to make sure I capture the latest one, which is this one here. Good thing. So now I have this 945 ready for me to process. So my next step here would be to actually create the Acumatica shipment based on that 945. And we have to take this particular 945 to be able to create the shipment and get the packages set up inside of Acumatica the way we need them so that we can send out the ASN. So here we go, my order number 5168, highlight that and I click on process and it's actually going to go ahead and create the shipment for me. So not only does it create the shipment, it also sets up the ASN as ready to send. So my shipment is created. And if I go out here to send outbound ASNs, you can see that my shipment number 2707, which is different from my earlier one, 2706, is ready to be sent. The ASN is ready to be sent. So it's pretty cool. You bring in the 945, you create the shipment off of that 945, it creates the shipment, and then it also sets the ASN as ready to send. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that one and I'm going to send it. But note here we have the scheduler so that you can schedule that at any time anything pops in there, you can actually go ahead and send off the ASNs. So you don't have to manually do any of that. So we're just checking this really quickly just to make sure that the ASN does go out. Because like I said, we always come back in here to update status and make sure it's gone until we get our dashboard set up, and then we'll be in good shape for that. Any questions on the 940, 945?
Yes, Siobhan, actually we have quite a few questions here in the queue. Can you set a specific channel to default to a specific warehouse, or would that need to be done manually every time?
So like I had to go in and change that in the actual order. Yes, you can set it up in your customer as the default warehouse.
Okay. Another question, is there a way to set up a SKU to ship from certain warehouse for certain trading partners?
So I'm not positive. I'm going to have to get back to you on that question. I'll have to look that up because I know there's so much Acumatica functionality that I might be able to set it up on the item and the customer. I expect the answer is yes, but I don't like to say yes without double checking. So I will get back to you on that one.
We'll table that. And then another question, does the inbound message dictate the quantity on the shipment?
Does the inbound 945 dictate the quantity on the shipment?
Yes.
Yes, it does. So
Okay.
if, for example, something was back ordered, the only thing that's going to come in on the 945 is what they actually shipped. So it's like you're getting an ASN for that.
Got it. Thank you. And with that, we have a question from earlier on the PO changes. A question, it's actually have a couple folds. Do you accept PO changes? And if yes, can you see the history of the original and all of the changes?
So currently we don't accept the EDI 860 document. You would have to go in and manually change those. But if that's something that you're looking for, we'll make sure that we capture that information, Mo, so that I can reach out.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so the last thing I wanted to run through really quick is Mo asked me to do the most difficult thing here, which is the outbound purchase orders and inbound invoices. So if you trade EDI with your suppliers, SPS Commerce EDI for Acumatica has that capability. So you can send your outbound purchase orders and receive the inbound invoices. So the process for that is fairly simple. And the reason that I fuss about that is because in order to bring in the invoice, which is a faked document, I have to make sure my purchase order is set up correctly. So I went through and I created a purchase order 1072 that I am going to use actually for EDI. At this point in time, Acumatica doesn't know that it's an EDI purchase order. Sorry, it was 1073. So my EDI purchase order number is 1073. So I went ahead and set that up and put all the information that I needed to on the purchase order. And then I should be able to go in here and actually send EDI PO. But for everything that sits on the Acumatica menu, we can do that right here inside of SPS Commerce EDI. But we'll go back and we'll do it off of this menu here. We're going to send the EDI PO. And so I just sent off this purchase order to my supplier, and my supplier is going to go ahead and fulfill that and then let me know that they fulfilled it and it's ready to go. And they're going to send me an invoice back. So let me make sure that I have it set up correctly. I'm sure I have my invoice set up correctly. So let me go ahead and receive inbound invoices. So I'm going to pull the data. I'm making a note of my purchase order number. Okay, and here's the purchase order 1073. That I just created, and my invoice came in and everything looks good. So now I can go back over here and I can create the Acumatica invoice off of that inbound invoice that I just received. So I'm going to click that and click on process. And it's going to create the invoice inside of Acumatica for us. So this is an AP bill is what Acumatica calls it. And if we remove the hold and release it, it allows us to do the purchase order receipt. And of course, when I tried this multiple times, that number came out perfect. So now it is the balance and the amount, the double check that Acumatica has in there, they match. So I faked the number, and so I can go ahead and release it. And then I can create my PO receipt. So any questions on that before we go back to our final poll?
Surprisingly, no questions.
Yay. So Nora, if you want to go ahead and pop that last poll, that would be great. And while Nora is popping that up, I'm going to go ahead and put up our contact information so that you can go ahead and make note how to get a hold of us if you have product questions. That question on the 860, my email address is sfinders@spscommerce.com. I'd love to hear from you. I kind of want to talk about what your expectations would be around that document. So if anybody's looking for the 860, reach out to me. I would love to hear from you. If you need support at mapadoc.com still works for us. Any sales questions, the sales phone number. Our website is spscommerce.com. And then if you put a /Mapadoc, it takes you right to all of the information about our Mapadoc team. We also have a customer portal out there where you can download updates if you need to. So if you want to go ahead and drop that poll, I'm looking over here and I see some questions in the Q&A. Did you catch all of those? I think you did.
Yes, we answered all those. And I just wanted to mention that the folks that might have missed some part of today's presentation, the presentation is recorded and we'll have the recording sent out next week.
Perfect. So we have 7 minutes left if anybody has any questions. Otherwise, I'd like to thank you guys very much for your time and thanks for listening all this time. Appreciate it. Thanks, Mo, Nora,
Thank you,
and Tammy.
Shivana.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, everybody.